What's going on, everyone? I'm Jeremiah.
And I'm Daniela.
And this is JD Visual Magic.
Per request, we have an awesome video for you guys today.
Absolutely. Today we will be teaching you the absolute beginner basics of editing a video. Let's jump right in. First, what you do is open up whatever editing software program you have. Right now we are going to be using Premiere Pro by Adobe. So when you open it up, you're going to get to this screen. It's going to ask you to open a project or new project. Let's just do a new project. And that's going to take you to your new project screen, which we're going to browse and just make a little spot here. Just make a new folder real quick. I'm just going to call this test. Sweet. So in here, that's the folder that we want to save our video in. So I will select that folder. And then in here, we're going to name this test as well. That's going to be the title of the video.
Down here is your timeline. This is where you drag and drop media to start creating.
So we're going to use some of the footage that we got when we were in Colombia. Let's just grab a couple videos. So let's say, here, let's make these larger. Let's say this one. Drag and drop that right in. So it'll import the file. And this is what your clip is going to look like. Right over here on the top, that is called your playhead, and that is the point in time at which you are viewing your video on the timeline. So as you see right here, it says 5 seconds. That is 5 seconds into the timeline, into the video, which is pretty cool. So let's grab just a couple more videos and plug them in there. Alright, so now we have all these videos in here, and they have to be put into an order and maybe cut down and whatnot in order to make a cool video.
So when we do a video, we typically want to do an intro and an outro.
So let's get an intro going. So I'm going to grab this little thing at the bottom on Premiere Pro and drag it to the side. That'll make your clips smaller, able to grab all of them. Then I will click and then drag and select all of the video footage and then move it all over just a little bit. Because right here in this empty space, we're going to put an intro. And just to keep it simple, we're going to do it out of just straight up text on a black screen.
So right now we're going to go to File, New, and Legacy Title.
Then under the legacy title, you title it whatever it is. So just this will be intro. Cool. And it will match the same size as your video, which this one is 1080p. And hit OK. It'll bring up here the text editing interface, and you'll be able to put in whatever. So let's just put in Colombia. Cool. Colombia's in. We have all these other things here on the side. We can change font if we want. Let's just leave the font the way it is. Then do some size adjustments, and it's just like any other kind of word processing anything. You just use what you need. So we're going to center it. Over here we can center it horizontally in the frame and then also vertically in the frame, so it's in the dead center of everything. And then let's grab our little arrow and make it bigger. Pro tip, if you hold down Shift and Alt on a Windows computer, it will grow directly in the middle and be the right scale. So that's as big as we want it, and we'll just leave it the way it is. Done. And hit X on the screen. Now if you're wondering where that went right over here to your project bin. And also in your project bin here is where you'll find all of your footage. So whenever you drag and drop footage down here into the timeline, it will also appear here in your project bin if you wanted to drag and drop the footage again, as you see. But I don't want to do that.
So now we're going to drag the intro right into our timeline and press play to see how long we want our intro. Our intro is 5 seconds long, but we want to make it 3 seconds long. We're going to press play and wait till it gets to 3 seconds. Then we drag the clip back and it'll drag it back to 3 seconds. Select all of the footage by clicking A on your keyboard and it'll select everything that's behind the mouse. Then click V to go back to normal mouse. Then drag everything to the end of the intro.
As you see, it snaps. So if we're right here and we're dragging it and it gets real close, it goes snap. And then that means that it's right there at the end. When this intro goes into the first clip, you'll see it goes right into the clip. There's no blank space in between. That's that little magnet button right here. That's snapping. And snapping is good because it's really hard to time things if things aren't right at the end. Some of these clips are a little bit too long, and we want to shorten them down. So let's just take the end of this clip when I actually finally got stable. So we grab the little front where it has that little arrow, and we're just going to drag it over here. And if you have snapping on, it'll snap right to the playhead right here. So then you can drag it to the exact spot you want. Then, with that clip selected, we will drag it all the way back to the front, and then it'll start right after the intro. So the intro goes, whoop, intro, 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 and then right in. Boom, car driving. So now that you have all your clips cut down, you can notice that over here, this is the total time of everything combined. So from start to finish, your video is 25 seconds and 29 decaseconds, I believe it's called, which is a tenth of a second. And we have to add an outro because you don't want your video to just end like this on black. Boop. That sucks. So do what we did again. Throw in a legacy title by going to File, New, Legacy Title. And let's name this one Outro. Boom. Thanks for watching. Nice. Now it's done, and like I said again, in the bin is where you're going to find that. So it's an outro. And you just take it and you drag it onto the end. You want that to be just about as long as your intro. So let's count to 3 once the outro starts. So it starts, and 1, 2, 3, pause, and cut it down just like the intro. So now let's add a bit more things in order to make it fun. Let's head over and add some music.
Now we have a song that we put down here. We're going to drag it down to the audio tracks right where it belongs, and we're going to cut the song shorter.
Okay, so let's see how it sounds when we start it off. So see, it has that little hiccup in the beginning where it doesn't start right away. It starts like half a second later, right here at 1 second and 3 decaseconds. So let's zoom in a little bit with this little thing down here. It'll help stretch your clips so you can see them closer. And see how the audio peaks in this little thing down here that don't show anything right here in the beginning? That's just silence. So let's drag that all the way to the very beginning of the audio peaks. And then take your audio clip and drag it all the way to the beginning of your video. So it should start off right away playing the music we want. And now it's just playing through, doing some fun stuff, showing all the awesome scenery of Colombia, running up the mountain. Super cool. Bringing it all the way over here, and oh man, should have had a steady cam walking on that one. A really cool mountaintop. Right into the outro. Bam. And now, as you see, the song is going way past the outro, so we have to cut it so it ends with the rest of the video. Easiest way to cut something is to hit C on your keyboard. That's the cut tool. And if you have snapping on, that little thing right there, if you have snapping on, it's going to snap right to the end. And you just cut. Boop. And then you click V one more time to go back to your normal mouse. Now, all the rest of this music at the end we really don't need. So let's just select it and click the delete button on our keyboard. Sweet. Now, use this thing on the bottom and zoom back out so you can see our whole project. Now, from start to finish, it is still 27 seconds and 48 decaseconds. So that's good. We did everything correctly so far. Some people could say that the video is done, but we're going to go a step further.
We want to delete our audio from the clips that we made, so we're going to click on this little M right here.
What that little M does is it mutes everything that was on our clip, and anything that's in this track right here, this line connected to the M, it's going to be completely muted. So if I wanted to mute the song for some reason, you don't hear anything. Then if I unmute, you start hearing something. As we continue, we want to add a couple more things in here, make it a bit more fun. Let's talk about transitions.
We're going to go to the Effects tab right up here, and then we're going to pick Transitions.
So Video Transitions is over here in your little effects panel. So let's click Video Transitions. Just like anything else, you're going to be able to explore all of these different transitions and see which ones you like. Right now I'm just going to use simple ones because they're ones I like and use in videos, even complicated videos, but they're simple and fun. So the slide ones are my favorites. Do a combination of the different things. So I'm going to start with push. So we're going to grab the push one, and all you do is drag and drop, click and hold, and then you see how it kind of like jumps to the beginning of these clips and whatnot? You want to put it right there in between the first two clips. So this is going to look like this. You're going like that, and boom. it transitions into the next scene, making it a bit more dynamic.
Let's add a couple more and see how it looks.
So here's what it looks like with the different transitions on it now. Pretty cool so far, I say. Yes, the run up the mountain. Ooh, fancy. And then into the outro. Boom. Sweet. Now, that kind of ends abruptly. We have a couple more things until we have a nice basic video. Let's talk about cross dissolve. So you're going to go over here and you're going to go to dissolves. Dissolves are cool, and if you ever wanted to get that fade in and fade out from one clip to another, or from the beginning of your video to the end of your video, cross dissolve is the one you want. So we're going to drag and drop that onto first the intro, right in the very beginning, as you see there, and then the outro right at the very end. And you'll see what I mean when a cross dissolve goes. See how it starts black? Here we go. There it was. It faded in. Beautiful. Such amazement. Cool. And then at the end, what do you think it's going to do? Probably fade out. Yep, faded out. Amazing. So, the music ends abruptly. We're going to do something to fix that. It's called a keyframe.
You want your audio to fade out too, so we're going to go right over here and add keyframes.
So up to the top in the effects controls is a keyframe. So just like your timeline down here, you have a timeline up here. The start of this is the start of the clip, and the end of this is the end of the clip. And you have your scrub bar. See how it moves on both clips? Awesome. So, just like the timeline down here, everywhere here is a certain point in time. So we want to find out when is the point that we want our audio to start fading out. So, I'm pretty sure we want it to start fading out, let's say midway through the outro, because people want to know that it's ending, and usually audio cues are a good way to know that a video is ending. Obviously this says thanks for watching, but since the audio is so loud and keeps on going, you may think there's something after the credits, but there isn't. So a fade out will always tell someone that something is ending. Let's start by adding a keyframe. Right over here has this little tiny diamond button. Click one keyframe. So at this point in time on the timeline, it is going to be 0 dB. And 0 dB means that that is the normal volume of your song. If you go negative, it makes it lower, and if you go positive, it makes it higher, but we don't want to do any of that. So I'm going to hit Control Z to undo that, and we want it to start right here at 100% volume, the normal volume. And then, what do you think is going to happen next? You probably guessed it. You're going to drag your playhead up here all the way to the end. Once you get to the end, that's the last point in time of the entire clip. You click another keyframe, and if you, as you see here, there's two keyframes. So from this first keyframe to the last keyframe, we want it to go from 100% volume to 0% volume. All of this is measured in dB and not percentage, which is kind of annoying, but all you have to know is click here, it's still lit up blue, that means you're on this keyframe. So when it's lit up blue, that means you're on a keyframe, because you don't want to put something here, because if you do that and you start dragging things, it'll add another keyframe in a point in time that you don't want it. So let's hit Control Z to undo that. So, using these little arrow keys, let's go to the very last keyframe, and on the very last keyframe, we're going to drop the volume down to 0%. So, just go over here to your dB, and you just start dragging and dragging until you can't drag it anymore. And as you see, 281.1, or negative 281.1 dB is 0%. So, if you've done this correctly, your first keyframe will be at 0 dB, and then your last keyframe will be at negative 281.1 dB. And it should sound like this. Nice fade out. Pretty awesome. At this point, you've pretty much completed your video, and I think we should watch it the whole way back. What do you think, Danny?
I think so.
And let's watch our video all the way through. that's it. Now is the most important part of making this video an actual watchable video on YouTube or someone's phone or whatever. Right now, everything is in chunks. You have layers of stuff and everything needs to be baked into one single video. And that is the process of rendering. You can't just say that your video is done right here because there's no way to open it unless you're opening it in Premiere Pro. So now we have to export it or render the video in order for it to be viewable on any device. Let's go to our render properties.
So now we're going to go to File, Export, Media. So we want to change the format from AVI to MP4.
You can do that by clicking H.264. That's the normal compression that videos use for YouTube and Facebook. It's pretty good. It still gives you your normal quality on everything. It just makes it viewable on any device. Next, we want to change the name. So it's right over here where it says output name. We just click on that. And as you see, we're in our test folder. Let's rename it Columbia Test. Columbia Test.mp4, perfect, and you hit save. Now that changed the name, awesome. Now all of the video settings down here in this little slot are going to match exactly the way that it was filmed. So don't worry about touching any of that stuff. Everything should be totally fine at this point to just hit this word export. So let's hit export and it should start rendering our video. And here it goes. It's actually a very quick video, so it shouldn't take that long. Okay, so after that's all completed, the screen went away and our video is done. So let's go back into our folder. Right here we have two different links. One link is to the project link, which is unbaked. This link right here takes us into here. It opens up the whole program and we are able to edit the video again and do whatever we need to. Right? Cool. We don't want that one. This is the one we're interested in. This one right here, Columbia Test.mp4, is the baked file. So if we double click on that, it opens up on the normal thing on our computer and we are able to hear everything and watch the video completely baked and all the way done. And that's everything you need to do to make a video. Take that thing right there and drag it into YouTube, copy it into your phone, whatever you need. Your video is done and ready to show people.
Hope you learned something. See, it's that simple. Step by step and you can't go wrong.
Yep, easy as pie. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Please follow us on our social medias. We got Instagram, we got Facebook, we even got YouTube. This is where you're watching this video. Duh.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and check out next week's video as well.
Absolutely. Share it with your friends. All that YouTube stuff. Bye.
Bye.